welcome to CivilNet's Daily News Digest for Wednesday, September 11th. I'm Maria Titizian.
And I'm Paul Chadurjian. Here's a look at the stories that grabbed our attention in the past 24 hours.
Early Tuesday, September 10, protesters gathered at City Hall. The City Council was to discuss bus fare rate hikes, which had led to citywide protests. Police blocked the entrance and did not allow protesters to enter. There were several scuffles. 10 protesters were arrested. Some were simply sitting on the steps of City Hall. The protesters have been demanding the resignation of several department heads.
Activists took to the streets yesterday for a march they called the March for Respect of Armenian Sovereignty. They're protesting President Serge Sargsyan's announcement last week that Armenia will join a Russian-led customs union. Details of the union are not available and people don't know what it would entail. However, there's grave concern about the consequences of Armenia turning away from a European Union Association agreement and retreating to a Russian-led association. Activists gathered in front of the presidential palace and walked to the office of the delegation of the European Union to Armenia. They say that believe President Sargsyan's decision is not Armenia's or the Armenian people's decision.
Foreign Minister Edward Nalbandian met with members of parliament yesterday behind closed doors to brief them about Armenia's decision to sign the Russian-led customs union. Reporters were not allowed access to that meeting, but CivilNet was at the National Assembly to gauge reactions. Levon Zurabian, the leader of the Armenian National Congress faction, and Nikol Pashinyan, also of the opposition ANC, told journalists that Minister Nalbandian did not answer their questions and said nothing that the parliamentarians didn't already know. Armen Rustamian of the ARF Tashnaksutyun told reporters that the customs union will eventually lead to the creation of a Eurasian Union. Therefore, this is not only an economic document, but a political one too. And Russia's attempt at establishing a new geopolitical pole in the world must be part of the equation. He also said that because of security issues with its neighbors and the geopolitical relationship with Russia, Armenia had no choice but to sign the customs union.
Yesterday, Sweden's Foreign Minister Carl Bildt said that the EU has no plans to finalize an association agreement with Armenia at the upcoming EU summit in Lithuania. Bildt said that he and the Slovakian foreign minister agreed that the deal with Yerevan is now off the table. It's become clear that the EU will reject the Armenian government's proposal to initial a significantly watered-down version of the association agreement that would exclude the, quote, deep and comprehensive free trade area.
An ongoing trial that CivilNet has been covering live involves 4 young Armenian National Congress activists charged with various offenses. In 2011, the 4 ANC activists had a run-in with police in downtown Yerevan. They witnessed what they considered the unlawful body search of police of a passerby. When they tried to intervene, they became entangled in an argument with the officers. As a result of the scuffle, the men were charged with different offenses. The most serious charge was leveled against Dikran Arakelian. He was charged with hooliganism and assaulting a police officer. The other 3 men were released on bail while they awaited trial. Arakelian was denied bail and has been incarcerated for the past 2 years. Yesterday, during the scheduled court date at the Court of Appeals, Arakelian's lawyer motioned once again to have him released on bail. The motion was rejected by the presiding judge. The next court date has been set for September 18.
Meanwhile, Dikran Khachaturian, the son of Suren Khachaturian, who's the former governor of the Sunnik Marzo region, was released and cleared of any wrongdoing. Dikran Khachaturian allegedly shot and killed a man outside his family's mansion in Goris 2 months ago. He was one of his father's bodyguards, arrested following the shooting and charged with murder and illegal possession of arms. Investigators dropped the charges and released the men from pre-trial detention, citing that the men had shot the victim, Avedik Budaglian, a local businessman, in self-defense.
Earlier, we showed you a video from the protest against Armenia joining a Russian-led customs union. That wasn't the only one yesterday. A second protest demanded a prominent activist, Yerian Nersesyan, be given a free and fair trial. A Canadian company, Dundee Precious Metals Rapan, is suing Nersesyan. Dundee operates in the Sunnik Mars or region. Nersesyan was accused of defamation and slander because of a speech he gave in the United States, where he claimed that the miners at the company were subjected to electric shocks. The court ruled that Nersesyan was not obligated to apologize to the company or make a statement refuting his claim. The court also ruled Nersesyan does not have to pay the court fees for Dundee Precious Metals. He was, however, obligated to pay 1 Armenian dirham to compensate mining company officials for psychological damage.
We should note that today at the Congress Hotel, the Partnership for Open Society is hosting a public forum to discuss the attack on universal human rights and values in Armenia. The dialogue will focus on human rights defenders and their strategies on how to confront violations.
China has promised a $16 million grant to Armenia. This announcement was unveiled by Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang yesterday during a meeting with Armenian Prime Minister Tikran Sarkisyan, who is in China to take part in the 2013 World Economic Forum. Additionally, the Chinese premier said that his country is interested in developing cooperation with Armenia, in particular importing Armenian goods such as brandy, jewelry, and precious metals.
Armenia's national football team squared off against Denmark last night in World Cup qualifiers in Yerevan. Thousands of fans filled the Hrazdan Stadium in what was an exciting game. However, in the second half, Denmark scored against Armenia during a penalty kick. The final score was 1-0 for Denmark. CivilNet's photographer was on the pitch and captured some of the highlights of the game.
In Armenia, the grape harvesting season has begun. CivilNet reporter Maria Yeryazaryan prepared a report yesterday about the largest vineyard in the Republic, Tierras de Armenia. It was established by Argentinian-Armenian entrepreneur Eduardo Ernekian in 2006, and it's located in the adjoining villages of Pagramian and Arevshad in Armavir Mars. The 450-hectare vineyard produces more than 4 million bottles of wine annually.
The Ministry of Culture honored the AGBU Antranik Youth Association's Arin dance group from Lebanon yesterday for its promotion of folk culture abroad and for educating diasporan youth. Choreographer and artistic director Gayane Madzunyan and a handful of dancers were on hand to receive a certificate of honor. The group has 155 dancers between the ages of 6 and 25. Its recent production paid homage to Aram Khachadurian's 110th anniversary.
The State Youth Orchestra of Armenia opened its new season last night at the Aram Khachadurian Concert Hall at the Opera. The evening featured world-renowned Russian-born American pianist Julia Zilberquit, with the artistic director of the youth orchestra, Sergei Sampadyan, conducting. Violinist Sergei Khachadurian will join the orchestra to perform a violin concerto by Aram Khachadurian on Sunday, September 15.
Armenian musician and human rights supporter Serge Tankian will perform 2 concerts in Poland next month. The performances will take place in Warsaw on October 11th and Gdansk on the 12th. Serge released his latest and 5th album this summer. It's called Jazz is Christ. By the way, Tankian is an honorary member of the Civilitas Foundation board. And here at home, pop star Nune Yasayan will perform in Republic Square on September 21st to mark Armenia's 22nd Independence Day.
That's our news digest for today. Please like us on Facebook and share our link on your favorite social media platforms.
We also want to hear from you. Tell us what you think of this digest. We've received a number of comments overnight, including one from Boston and Rita Kasabian. She says, continue the good work.
Herinar Melkomian from Yerevan wrote, congratulations on the launch of CivilNet's Digest, an excellent and innovative idea. This will enable us all to catch up on the day's highlights and be abreast of the most important events. P.S., she writes, great choice of location.
Narek Seferian from Yerevan says, I'd say a good 3-4 minute of solid recap of the days and weeks news in English with less playfulness would appeal to me more.
We'll take that into consideration, Narek.
Lara Garibian from Glendale writes, what a wonderful, clear and concise update on current events in Armenia. It's refreshing to hear about such a variety of topics, ranging from politics to education to sports. I love, Lara says, that as an American Armenian, I can hear what's up and coming in my homeland.
Sarah Anjargolian from Yerevan says, I love the fact that there is a digest in English. I definitely feel the need for it, as I'm often lost in the number of Facebook events and protests I need to keep track of daily, and the topics you chose were spot on. Please do continue the morning digest. I would love to wake up to them. I didn't mind the length considering the number of topics you covered.
Thank you for your comments. Please keep them coming. Our email address is english@civilnet.am.